This is what it looks like with normal lighting. That's a 60-watt bulb over there, the head of the bed, and you can see the time and date over there. And this is in the normal mode, not the low light mode or anything else. You can basically see what it looks like inside my trailer here. And now I'm going to walk outside, and I want to give you a view of what it looks like in broad daylight, so you can get an idea here what this looks like. Of course, you can hear the air conditioners. Well, this is what it looks like in broad daylight. You can look around here, see where I'm staying for a little while. And you can see how bright it is out there. But you can check it out inside a normally sunlit room. And as you can see, the video is quite good. What I want to do is I'm going to go in and show you what it's like in low light. The thing I want to show you is just how dark this room actually is. And you can see my windows, you might be able to barely see a little bit of light here. They're pretty much all darkened out. I'm actually in a travel trailer on vacation here down in Florida. You can see a little bit of light here from my HP blinking up here. But it's pretty dark in here. And then here you go, I'm going to turn on the lights. And so you can see just how bright this is now here. I'm going to turn it off, turn it on, so that gets you an idea. Now I'm going to use the IR lights so that you can see that. Okay, so now I want to show you the difference between what you saw before and with the IR lights on. And you can see there's kind of a narrow cone of light going out here. It'll show you what's over there on the desktop. That's about 6-7 feet away. Okay, so I want to go ahead and show you what this device looks like out at just various distances here. And here I'm about 4 feet, so you can see that you can see my legs much easier. Keep in mind I'm wearing total black. Everything looks black and white though on this. Then I'm going to go out around 8 feet right now. And so you can see that as long as it's within 5 to 7 feet, it's a pretty good clear picture, even in total darkness. There's a nice cone of light that kind of goes out from it. Okay, so I want to show you what it looks like in DV night mode. I'm just going to flick on one simple light in here. This is a trailer, so you can see it's not really the brightest location in here. But this is what it looks like with basically about 20 watts of light. And no IR lights on at all. I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like with just one 60-watt bulb on. Okay? And this is what you'd be seeing with the motion activation mode on. Motion detection mode, they turn down the sensitivity of the chip in order to make it so that there won't be false triggers. So you can see right now that it's this is about 2 feet, and then the IR lights are going to be on, but the sensitivity is quite a bit down. So you're going to have more limited range. Fortunately, this thing also has a DV night mode, but that's only in the constant record, and that basically raises the light sensitivity of the chip up. Personally, if you're going to be using this to, let's say, watch elder care or watch over at like a nanny cam or over a crib or something, you're going to want to put it within 4 to 6 feet, and especially in the night mode. I just want to show you how to record and how to stop recording. The simplest thing you can do. No settings, no nothing. You turn on the device, you're going to be in this screen. It always starts there. You're going to press and hold the 2 arrow buttons right over here. You can see that right there. It'll automatically go right there. Press OK. Boom, you're recording. It's that simple. Now go ahead and press escape twice, and you've stopped the recording. To start again, you do the same thing. Press and hold the 2 arrow buttons down, back in there, start it again. It's that easy to do. Most of mine come with instructions. Not all do, though, because some are sold internationally and don't have that in it. If it doesn't, you can always watch this video, which will show you how to do it, or you can always email me directly at onlineenterprises888@gmail.com, and I will always get that to you. What you're going to do is want to bring your own MicroSD card. Make sure it's face down without any oily fingerprints. Click it in, click it out the same way. These various features here are, this is where you plug it in for a constant power. Right now it's running on battery, and you can unplug it while it's recording, plug it in, unplug it. The power can surge, the power can blink out. It'll still maintain its recording ability. No other device on the market does that. This is where you can jack in your cell phone, anything with a 3.5 millimeter plug. It comes with that in the box. This right here is for your earphones. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm not going to get in much detail because it gets a little blurry here. Okay, I want to show you the various functions here. You got your volume, and you see it's like an arrow thing. That's also for arrow to navigate through your menus. You've got the menu button that basically gets you deeper into submenus. You got your mode button. Those all have multiple purposes, both a public layer and a private layer. Then you have your OK button, which is basically your enter button, and your escape button, which is basically your backup button. Really handy, really simple. Turn the thing on. Super simple, nice click. These buttons got a nice feel to them. You're going to show this, and every time this starts up, you're always going to see this mode right here. You're going to see the audio player mode. And you shouldn't see any white lines on the screen. That means it was banged around while it was being shipped, or you dropped it, or maybe it's on the fritz. That does happen now and then. So what I want to show you is that there's two layers of menu. There's a public layer and there's a private menu, a covert menu. And the public layer you can show to anybody, and no one can get into the private layer unless they know exactly what to hit. So I'm going to hit the OK button there in order to turn back on the screen. And every time this unit starts up, it always starts in the audio player mode. So if you happen to get lost, just turn the unit off, turn it back on. It should start right here in the public settings mode. Let me hit that button again to get out of there. So we're going to go right now, use the arrow buttons here to navigate over to the video player mode. Now, whenever you insert this thing and do your very first recording, it puts 4 files on the MicroSD card at the back. One of them is for video, and that is for covert video, as well as your own video that you can add on there so you can watch videos on the screen. There's also one for audio only, and then there's one for, that would be also for music. And then there's also one for photos that you can put on, use it as a photo player. So right here you can see that we haven't put any files on there. And yet right here what it's showing is a blank screen. So that's a public. Anyone logging through it would either see what you want them to see or see nothing at all. Now to get into the hidden menu, you're going to press and hold this, the 2 arrow buttons down. And voila. So then you can see all the files that I've already made. Now to play those, you're going to hit the OK button. Boom. Okay, hit the mode button, and the volume shows up, and you can see that little thing is highlighted down there.
The reason it shows the screen,
and then you can now navigate this with the volume up and down. You hit the mode button again, and that thing goes white. You can see that's white, that's blue, that's white, that's blue. Go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and pause it by hitting that. That's the OK button. I want to fast forward, okay? All I'm going to do is press and hold the fast forward button. Now look, you can see that it's going much faster. Now it's started again, slow, but I'm going to press down the fast forward button, and that's it. Now it's fast forwarding. So to record, I'm going to teach you real simple. All you want to do when you first start up, and you can do this from any of these screens, but usually you'll see this one first. But it doesn't matter. Anytime you're in the public menu, you can get in the hidden setting menu, press and hold this for 3 seconds, and press OK. Boom, now it's recording. Within 10 seconds, it'll start. Now you can see this little pause button. In motion detection mode, this little pause button shows up. I personally don't like it at all. So what I do is I press escape to get out of that, and then I turn off the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the mode button, and that will lock it so that nobody can mess with it. And you hold down the mode button for 3 seconds to unlock it. I'm going to hold down the mode button to lock it, and then I'm going to hold down the escape button. And now nobody knows it's on but you, and that little light tells you that it's still working, that it hasn't run out of battery. It's really handy to know. If you don't like it, you can also wrap that in, put a little black black cardboard paper around that, and that'll block out most of that light. I personally like it. And then now you're recording. The only button that'll work is this button, and even then you still can't touch anything else, and that way you won't even see the pause button. Now that pause button only shows on the motion detection mode. On the full record mode, you won't see the pause button at all. Personally, it's so small nobody would know, but I don't like anything to give away this possible secret of this. So okay, so I'm going to hit the escape button to back out again. Now I'm going to go through these various functions here. I'm going to show you the public settings menu, which is the gears and wheels symbol. You're going to go ahead and click OK and enter in here. And then you're going to click in here, and now we have the menu, which is default to English. Escape to get back out. Time set. You go through here, hit the OK button to enter in, OK button to get into it again. I'm sorry, OK button saves. OK button to get in here. Now you can go like this, adjust the time of the day, click mode button to move around, up and down. You can click all the way through it, click OK to save. Boom, you've saved. Right here is the memory, which you can format the SD card if you start to have hanging up issues or issues where it's seizing up. This is a good place to go and format that SD card to make sure everything's cool with that. You hit the escape button, and then you have the default, which is basically a reset to factory default. That's how you do that. From right there, all you're going to do to enter into the secret record mode is press and hold this for 3 seconds. Click the OK button. Boom. 10 seconds later, you're recording. Now, this is in motion detection. In non-motion detection, that little screen won't show up. But this is basically allow you to set the screen so you know exactly what you're viewing. Otherwise, you have no idea. Within a few seconds, this all disappears. Or I sometimes hit the escape button 1 time, not twice. If you hit twice, you stop the recording. And that right there, little indicator, lets you know that you are indeed recording. No one else can know that. One thing I want to stress about these IR lights is that they are not visible to the human eye. They are only visible to things that are IR sensitive, such as the camera lens. So the reason you can't have DV night mode and motion activation at the same time is because motion activation is really about this little sensor detecting light changes. In DV night mode, the sensitivity of the chip is turned up so that it would basically create lots of false positives where you'd have lots of spaces, 5-minute segments of recordings where there was nothing really triggering it off. So that's why they turned that off for that particular thing. You have super long record mode. This is great for wanting to record for up to 32 days on the 320 by 240. And you have a normal mode, and then you have back to the motion active detection mode. We're going to leave it on motion detection for now. And I'm going to go through here and I'm going to show you these various functions. Video size, that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm pressing OK, OK. Press this button over here, the volume button with the arrow buttons to navigate. I'm going to leave it on 640 by 480. DV quality, I always leave it on normal. If you want to, you can get in there and you can turn it on high. It doesn't really make any visible difference to me though. Video timestamp, you can turn that on and off. Leave it on. Video loop record, this just allows it to record endlessly or to stop when the SD card is full. I personally like to turn it off. I'm using the arrow buttons here again, select it off. Okay, going to go to video segment time. Now, when it's in motion activation, it records in 5-minute segments. You don't have any choice. And the reason is if it didn't do that, it would just record endlessly, which would make it not motion activation. In this one, you can select in the continuous which size of segments you're going to have it to. I personally like to save it to 10-minute segments. I don't actually view and play back large sets of files on this device. It gets really problematic having to go through file after file after file. So what I'll do is I'll save it in 10-minute segments, and then I'll take out the SD card, or I'll plug this in with the USB port to my computer. And then when you view a screen, you're going to see all these different screens of every single 10 minutes. And what happens if there's any motion, let's say the camera got moved a little bit, or if you're checking out an office and all of a sudden a pencil moves, it's extremely obvious because along the screen, along your page, they all look the same until one does it. And so you can just see, oh, well, that one, something happened. What happened? And then you realize, oh, the cleaning lady came in. That's why that moved. And so it helps you spot where the change is without having to watch every single video. That's just some experience right there that'll help you out. And that's for the always on record mode. Okay, now if you keep going here, there's actually 2 pages of menus here. We got auto record, which I'll get into in a minute. We've got the screen display, which can be both left to show visible to show that it's a camera, or to hide it. Depends on where you're at and how you're using it. A lawyer might want to leave it on and let everyone know he's recording. In a meeting, someone else might not want to or not be able to. On the IR LEDs, you can turn that to either always on, always off, or on auto, and that will turn on and off depending on this little sensor and what it detects. I like it to be on auto all the time. I turned it off here because if I do this, you'll see those little lights flicker on. Now, one thing I want to tell you is that to the human eye, these are completely invisible. But on the camera, they would glow purple. Every time my finger would cross, that little sensor would flick on, flick off. So I turn it off just to make it non-distracting. The other thing I want to say is down here to DV audio. These are shipped by default with the audio off. And that's to comply with various laws and regulations all around the country that go all the way back to the prohibition and wiretapping. There were laws passed about who could use audio and who couldn't, and basically it had to be done in many places with a warrant. And so for years, audio and video together was the realm of law enforcement only. Now these things are allowed, but some states allow only video to be recorded, and others allow only audio to be recorded, and some allow both to be recorded. If you're going to use this to try and catch a thief, I would say call your local police department, tell them that you think you have a thief in your house, your home, on your property, and that you're wanting to use something to catch some evidence. Most of the time, they love to hear from you. They want to catch these guys too. And so they're going to give you some advice on how to use it to be legal. Do that before you take the video and go, hey, officer, I've got him dead to rights. Most of the time, you're going to be fine. But if you happen to have it in a fairly private place, let's say a bedroom, where there's a reasonable expectation of privacy, you could get in trouble with that. And so you just got to be really careful on how you use it and make sure that you're not using it wrong, or you could be the one with handcuffs on, and that wouldn't be cool. Now, I've never heard of that actually happening, but you could get in trouble. Usually the police department love to hear that you've caught somebody with solid proof. So I turned this off by default, but this is where you turn it on. And that basically is that menu. Now, I'm going to escape out here to this, hit the OK button to get in here, and you'll see if you hit the arrow button here, all of a sudden it looks really similar. This can get really confusing when you're first using this. And it says camera even. What that is actually the actual camera, like the, like a real camera. So there's all sorts of settings modes there. You can go in there, use the arrow keys, navigate around. You have to press this button manually, so I don't know anybody who uses this, to be honest. I'm going to exit out again here, and I'm going to go here to the arrow button again. Now we're in the audio record, so you can use it just to record audio. Same thing, hit the enter button, the OK button, enter, go down through here, go down through there. That allows you to protect all that. These are not really that used. The primary thing that's going to pop up is the very first one, the DV monitor settings, and that's your important one. And that's basically how to do that. Now to get out of that, you're always going to want to hit the escape button here, but now you're still in the hidden settings menu. You can start recording from there, and if you do, it will automatically revert to the public settings menu to keep this all covert. But let's just say you decide you're done, you don't want to start recording. To get out, press and hold. Sorry, I'm going to have to hit the escape button to get that. Press and hold for 3 seconds. Boom. In the public settings menu, or the public menu again. And that's right where you want to be. This thing is just designed to keep it covert all the time. Now, one more thing I want to cover here is the auto on mode, and this is kind of a cool little feature. Now, these devices cannot both play audio or play video and record audio and video at the same time. That's a limitation of the SD cards. And so what it does is it means you basically can't do two things at the same time. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go into that hidden settings menu, press and hold that to enter into there, go into the settings menu, press OK. I'm going to go into here again. I'm going to go back up, so I'm going back to the menu this way. I'm going to go to auto record and turn it on. And now I would only use this in the non-motion activation mode, because what happens is once that turns back on again, it'll show motion activation recording, and we'll start in 10 seconds. That's not cool. So what you want to do is you also want to go up here. I turn this to constant record. Let's see here. Normal mode. And then what this does is this allows you to, let's see, I'm going to escape out, and I'm going to go over to the DV. I'm going to press OK. Now it starts recording. So you can see it's recording here. In a few seconds here, I can escape out. There we go. Hit the escape just one time, not twice, or you turn it off. and now you can see it's recording up there. But what happens is, if you start to do this, now you can use it for video and audio. So let's say you put some audio and video files on there as a cover. And so you hand it to someone and say, hey, yeah, look at that. You can listen to music or you can watch a video. So there'll be video files showing on here in the public menu. They play it, they watch it, and you notice the little blue record light has turned off. No problem, because as soon as you stop touching all these things, you set it back down. In a few seconds, that little screen is going to pop up with the time and the date, about 5 to 10 seconds. And then what's going to happen is about 15 seconds later, that little blue record light is going to turn back on again. But keep in mind, this will record non-stop. You can't stop it from recording. And so the only way to turn off the recording is to turn the thing to the off position and turn off the actual whole unit. But go ahead and watch. You'll see that thing turn back on again. I personally think it's brilliant. And I use it in any case where I might have a suspicious party. Just blink back on again to start a recording. And you can also turn off the unit, and then when you turn it back on again, it'll just automatically start recording. So a lot of times in a situation like an office, where I might be having 3 meetings in a day, I'll just turn it off on the auto record mode, and then I turn it back on again. I don't have to touch a thing. Within about 30 seconds, it just starts recording. And I think that's just brilliant, and it's a great little feature. A common complaint that I have received a lot is people trying to get the radio to work. And this can be a real problem because it doesn't have an external microphone. All it has is an internal microphone. So this device actually uses the earphones as the external cable that come with it. So you're going to need to pull those out and plug that in. And once you plug them in, you'll find out it'll get lots and lots of stations. So I'm going to go ahead and get back out to the public menu here. And you can go into the radio mode. And here you can see that it's trying to search. Let me turn off the sound there so it doesn't bother me. And here we're going to go ahead and raise the volume, lower the volume. That's the mode button, same as the other in the video. And then this here is on auto, manual. You can see that with the menu button, I'm able to change that. Now keep in mind, you're going to want to have those headphones plugged in. Now, if you happen to want to listen to the radio and listen to it over the speakers, all you do is unplug those one click, and it will use it as an antenna, yet allow it to come over the speakers. It was actually designed that way. So using a combination of the menu button and the mode button and the arrow buttons, you can then select what you want in there. And it's the same thing for everything. That is the navigation menu for every single function, whether it's a webcam or the line in. There's the line in right there. Or the picture viewer or the camera or anything. These are the menu and navigation buttons that you need. And it's actually really, really intuitive. You can just kind of dink around with it and figure it out in about 3 seconds. So that basically is the operation of this device. And you can see I've been using it this whole time, and about another 30 minutes of video that you have not seen, and it hasn't even gone off the full battery mark. So these things hold a charge for quite a while, even with the screen on. Now, one other thing I've gotten complaints on are the battery life not being that long. And so if you want to start a recording and get the greatest battery life, don't forget to lock it. I like to always lock it. And while you're in record, you press and hold the mode button, and then go ahead and turn off the screen, and you will get quite a bit more recording time out of it. And in motion activation, that will not light up or do anything. You won't see anything. You won't know that it's working, except for the little blue light underneath. The other thing I want to do is do a little bit of troubleshooting. If you do have problems with it, and sometimes this thing can freeze up to the point where it just won't respond. I mean, you turn the off button and it won't turn off. All you have to do is unclick right here, just with the fingernail. It's barely, no need to remove the 4 screws. I've had customers return them all opened up. Just like this, open this up, and just shake it out gently. I'm going to turn this off so I don't hurt it. But typically, sometimes it'll freeze and you can't get that. That's probably the biggest complaint I've had. They do tend to freeze up a little bit. And all you have to do is just shake that out in your hand. There you go, shake out the battery. Now these little buggers right here are really, really weak and kind of wimpy. There's the 2 little tabs there. They're held in with a glue on the back side, and it's a weak spot in these. There they have a little tag number to make sure this isn't imitation, it's genuine. And just be careful and make sure that those are holding all the time. Slide that back in again. Click this back in like this. And that should clear it if it ever gets really buggy. And of course, then you always have a factory reset as well that you can always do. The other thing is there are aftermarket batteries available for this that are a little bit bigger, maybe a third to a half larger, and they will fit inside of here. This is a real standard size, like they've sold 1 billion of these. Just type that number into Amazon or eBay, or go into any battery RS superstore, and you will find a bazillion batteries like this. You can order some of them from China that have much higher capacity and will still fit inside there, and those will give you maybe another additional hour of recording out of it. When you go ahead and click this back together, it's so smoothly done you won't even hear it click. It's just nice and simple, can't fall out, it's nice and tight. These are shipped with the batteries installed, and that's actually due for legal reasons while shipping. And that basically will help you clear it, help you reset it. I want to make sure too also to show you how to use the time and date set. So I'm going to start up. Once again, it goes to here. I'm going to go with the arrow buttons over to the settings setup. And here you can change the language. If you happen to speak simplified Chinese, you may select that. The default is English. Press OK again to exit out. Success, huh? Okay. And then I'm going to use the arrow button to go to the time set. Press OK to get into it. Press OK to exit. Press OK to get into it. I'll show you how to change it. You're going to want to press that to move around, and this to go up and down. That again to go there. Here you can set the time, and up there it will show the 24-hour time. But on the actual clock face, it will show the 12-hour time, so don't be fooled by that. You can select that, and then the year, month, date with the format that you want, you can select there. I'm going to press OK to save it. I'm going to go to the memory. Here you can format the SD card. It'll show you what's used and what's not used. You can click format. If you ever have issues of it hanging up, this is a good place to go to make sure your SD card is working, period. And then I'm going to go ahead and out. Oh, no, I don't want to. I do not want to cancel. Escape to get back out. And you can always set it back to the factory default, which is another good troubleshooting measure that you can use. You do those 3 things. Clear it with this. Go and make sure you format the SD card and set it back to factory default. All those, if you continue to do problems and do the default last, that usually clears 90% of the problems I have. And then, so the simplest thing is do the battery first. The next simplest thing is do the memory. The next one is set it back to default. If it still continues to have problems, such as hanging up, try another SD card. I've seen so many problems with the incompatible SD cards. Technology is still pretty new on these, and they don't come out perfect every time. 90% of the time, I've seen people fix the problem just by using another SD card they had laying around. Okay, I'd like to show what's in the box. You get your little 18-inch power USB cord. This can work plugged into a USB and power the device and actually run it while it's plugged into your laptop. But the thing I'd like to point out is that it's better to use it with the plugged-in power here. Now, these have a little bright red light on them. I've had a few customers complain about that. I actually prefer to know that there's power going to it, and I'll put it back behind whatever device that I'm using. And now, if some people don't like it, you can get these right here, aftermarket, or just look in your junk drawer. These have been sold about 1 billion of these for the Apples, and pretty much almost every single cell phone ever sold comes with these. These all work. These are what are called, if you look at the fine print, are 1 amp / 5 volt, and those will all run this device and charge this device. As long as it's that, don't worry about using it. It will work. One other thing I want to say here is that the antenna in this is not here. This is the antenna. So if you want to use and get good radio, you're going to need to plug this into the earphones like this, and suddenly you've got a nice long antenna that'll work just great. And if you want to play it over your speakers, pull it out 1 notch like that, and now the antenna still works, and it allows you to play the radio over the speakers. This right here is the auxiliary, and this is for any kind of cell phone that has the standard 3.5 millimeter plug, and you can then just jack it in there and use this as a little boom box. There's a copy of the Chinese to English instructions on this in a PDF format. It's helpful, but mine are far more helpful. If you just email me, I can give these to you again at onlineenterprises888@gmail.com. And if not, you can always just watch this video and I'll show you how to do it. Comes with a little tiny handy carrying case that you can open up here, turn it off, put it in just like this. Okay, it's really, really handy, keeps it protected. If you ever have a problem with it shorting out while you're actually holding it like this, it's probably because you're pressing the battery with your fingers. I've had that happen now and then, and it'll blink off. You're like, oh, what did I do? So those are a couple little handy troubleshooting devices, tips there. And this little mini CD will fit in any standard CD player and will work just fine. Even a giant one over here on my laptop, it'll click right in there and it'll work just fine. You shouldn't need to install any of the drivers from here unless you want to use it as a webcam, and even then you shouldn't need to install it, period. The only other problem I've had is customers with Macs, and sometimes they will be able to play, they can play audio and video on here back and hear it, but when they play it on the Mac they have no audio. And what you need there is what's called a VLC media player, and you can go to download.com and get that for free. And there's also something called a mega codec pack you can add if it still gives you problems. These are what some of my Mac users have had problems with and went to the Genius Bar, and that's the solution that they were prescribed. Of course, I'm not a tech guy, so I can't really guarantee it'll work for you, but it's just a suggestion. Use it at your own risk. But it's worked for most of my customers in the past. One other complaint I've had is that this cord is only 18 inches and it's really short. You can always use an extension cord to run to the actual plug unit in the back. Whenever I travel, I always bring 3 extension cords with me with multi-prong outlets at the end because I have lots of electronics. And then that'll bring it closer to you. You can also use any USB to USB extender, will work. And those are just, commonly and easily available for a very cheap price. And then I actually have listed on some of the comments of my other unit, the original MVS1, not the MVS2, some of the exact product numbers to look for if you want to buy with the right fitting. Now, this is a really standard fitting that was out about, in the last 4 or 5 years, they've used this almost for tons of cell phones. And you can find it they've literally made probably nearly 1 trillion of these things. And you may actually have some laying around. And that is important to have the correct ending on that. But this could just use a standard USB to USB extender, or like I said, the extension cord. So that can help you with some of your problems. I'll show you what happens when you take out the SD card and you insert it into a little SD card adapter, such as this one right here. Keep in mind, this is called an SD card and this is called a MicroSD card, and that's a MicroSD card adapter. So you're gonna use it either this way on your laptop or computer, or you can use it right to a USB port from the included data cable, which is also the power cord. What happens is almost immediately a little window pops up. Now I have another program that wants to, with Sony, that wants to import, so I have to stop that. But this is the standard Windows open up folder. So you're going to click open. And once you've used this once, you're going to see 4 different files. DCIM, which is photos, record, which is the hidden covert recordings, music, which is any MP3, video would be any MP4s, and photos would be any kind of photos you want to have it show in the public menu. So you can load any of these you want. Now I pulled up a couple of files here, such as my MP4s here, and like Breakfast at Tiffany's, I can now then click, copy. I could go over here to my video folder, right click in here and paste, and boom, it's going to be in there, and it'll be in the public settings menu, so you've got a perfect cover story that you like to watch videos. Music makes a lot more sense because this thing has the boombox speakers on it, and so in a case like that, you open up your audio files like this over here, and you can just yank those right over into the music folder. And those have to be MP4 or MP3s in order to work, and there's a list of codecs that it can accept on the side of the box, so that's all covered. Whenever you do a covert recording, it's going to be in here in the video folder, and boom, now you can go on down. Like I was saying before, if you select this into the large icons like this, typically if you're monitoring a room, every single one is going to look identical. It's almost going to look like a still photo, and you'll have pages of these when you have lots and lots of recordings. So rather than have to go through them all, you can just look at one that's changed. So let's say you're monitoring your hotel room and nothing changes, all of a sudden, boom, the pillows moved. You're like, oh, well, obviously that 10-minute segment has something that's happened in it. So boom, you click on it, and then you can narrow it down. And then you can see all the others, they all look the same. It almost looks like a still photo. And then all of a sudden, you're like, whoa, what happened? Something moved here. Same if you're monitoring an office or a sick bed or a medicine cabinet, whatever. You can see it very easily that way. That something has moved and changed. Of course, it's possible for stuff to have happened that you didn't see and has been inside there, but it gives you a good indication of where to look if you save in the smallest segments. So that basically shows you what you're going to see every single time you open up the screen and how to load in your own files. Now keep in mind, if someone actually plugs this device into the laptop or into a computer, those hidden files are not going to be hidden anymore. And that's just kind of, there's no way to write to an encrypted folder. I've had people ask me that. There's no technology out there yet that can do that. They can hide it on the device, but they can't hide it on the SD card. Not yet. It's probably coming in the next couple generations. But this is as covert as it gets, so I wanted to let you know that.